So, welcome everybody to our circle. Firstly, I would just like to acknowledge the traditional custodians on the lands on which we're all individually standing. I am here on Yagara land, and this land was never ceded. I acknowledge the privilege that I've gained through the colonization of these lands, and I pay my respects to the elders past, present, and emerging. Tonight, I welcome you to our magical circle. We're mothering magical kids masterclass tonight. It's a bit of a tongue twister. And we are under the energy of this full moon, and it's a full moon that's merging into a blood eclipse tomorrow. So this is bringing up big changes in our life. It's big energies, and I've been feeling the pressure in my sinuses all day. So we're doing some tea and nice relaxing and cleansing this energy. So I invite you to step into this space as a sacred space with reverence. You are here for a reason. So take a big deep breath. Send your roots down deep. Breathe out. This is a time to call in your guides, your ancestors, and acknowledge the maidens, mothers, magas, and crones of past and present who have circled before us. So if you'd like to, to light a candle or to put some, I like to put some essential oils on my palms of my hands when I begin working with channeling and calling in energy. Just I'm using frankincense tonight. It's my favorite to use to channel in divine guidance. And just call your guides to you while I open up our circle. I open the circle to our sisters in the north and welcome the guardians of the earth, the dryads, the gnomes, the crystal keepers, turning minerals from the bones of ancestors past into rainbows of light. I open this circle to our sisters in the east and welcome the guardians of air, the sylphs and fae, the spirits of wind who bring the whispers of change. I open this circle to our sisters in the west and welcome the guardians of water, the creatures of the depths, the nymphs and the mer people who teach us to move with the flow. I open this circle to our sisters in the south and welcome the guardians of the fire, the phoenix, the salamanders who rebirth from the ashes and walk the coals of transformation with passion. I open this circle to above and welcome universal life force energy to flow. I open this circle to below and welcome divine mothers and our ancestors to hold us in love. Today I'm going to be talking about the energetic practices that I have returned to when I had my children, as my eldest struggled as a baby, and it took me until she was probably about 18 months, a toddler, for me to start working my energetic practices back into my mothering. It was something that I worked out as a kid who was really intuitive and highly sensitive, really empathetic, feeling everything around me. I worked out these practices at a young age, but then as I grew through my teenagehood and I started to work in the corporate world, I began to put these magical things that I did, these little practices that I would do aside to be able to be an adult, grow up, all of those different things. So I'm going to be talking about how I brought these things back into my mothering and how they've worked to increase my child's awareness of their own emotional energies and their emotional boundaries, as well as increasing their confidence in their intuition and knowing their innate guidance and what they feel called to do. Okay, so I'm going to share with you my slides. Let's see. work. Okay. Okay, so can everybody see that all right? Okay. So, Mothering Magical Kids Masterclass. This is what I was just talking about. Okay, so this is a bit about me. So I know that most of you that are here live with me tonight know who I am, but for those that are watching back on the recording, you may not have known me. My name's Dania. I am an energetics therapist. So what that means to me is that I've combined my innate abilities, like I was talking about the earth magic that I've been working with since childhood, with practices that I've picked up along the way, like my flower essences, Reiki, tarot, meditation journeys into the Akashic realms, and ancestral lineages to bring this healing through. I'm an unschooling mum of three. My eldest is 8, then my middle child is 6, and my youngest has just turned 3. I manifested my soulmate and moved across the country to be with him. It was quite a proud moment of my intuition with that one. And I've almost finished my naturopathy degree. So I've been studying since 2015 when I was pregnant with my second child, and I've been going ever since. It's been quite a journey. I used to work as a coach in the insurance industry, but I walked away from that in 2015. Actually, I think I left in 2016. I did a year of trying to do everything, of trying to work in the corporate world, studying my naturopathy degree, do some Reiki and tarot on the side, and of course, be a mother. But I walked away from that to study, to run my own business, to pull my kids out of daycare and let them unschool. So that's a bit about me. So, in this masterclass, we're going to be learning about meditation practices specifically for our highly sensitive kids, how to work with crystals and oracle cards to nurture our intuition, and how to work with moon phases to embrace emotional awareness. Don't worry if your kids are running around or interrupting you. I'm used to that. Just attend to them as needed. There will be a recording, so if you need to duck in and out, that's okay. Let's check that's okay. So we know that meditation practices are going to be really good for our kids. If our kids are intuitive and we want to nurture that, we understand that meditation helps to nurture intuition, gives us a space to listen to those inner thoughts and slow down the mind. We know that it's calming for the nervous system. So if we're hyperactive and feeling big feelings, we know that meditation is a practice to help them bring those into a calm balance. But sometimes it can be really hard to get our child to sit down and meditate. They're rolling around on the floor, they're poking their sibling, they're not listening, they're not paying attention. See that chat? See if I can see it. I can't see the chat. I'll come back to it. So we know that our children's intuition and empathetic nature would be really supported by meditation and calm mindfulness practices, but our children are not wanting to sit still and do as they're told. Pretty much, they don't like following things as the book says they're going to listen to. So you'll try and do these practices that you've learnt about, and then you'll take it to your kids and they're like, nah, they've got their own idea about what they need to do. So meditation for kids. We need to be aware that we don't want meditation to become a chore. I have made this mistake with my kids of saying, okay, so it's meditation time. This time in the morning, we're all going to sit down together. We're all going to listen to this nice calming music. Everybody get a cushion and we'll sit in a circle, we'll hold hands, and we'll do meditation time. So it's important that we remember that we don't want everybody to our children to feel like it's a chore. It becomes something that they have to do. We don't want to take the joy and the magic out of these moments and make it something that's boring. That's what I had feedback from my kids when I was trying it as a practice, as I was taught, is that it becomes boring and a chore. So with our kids, they've already got all of these sparks of imagination. This is why they can't stop moving. They're full of energy. Okay, our kids need to experience the purpose of meditation, because if we try and forcibly slow them down, forcibly bring them into a state of controlled thought pattern, then they're going to rebel against that. So our kids need to experience its purpose. A great way to do this is in the moment when they are requiring some support to calm down, is bring them in and help them to focus on their breathing just for a moment. Just bring them in and in that moment where they have had their explosive energy and now they're in a calming down state and they're requiring safety from you and comfort from you, then in this moment it is about building that safety through providing breath. Just focus on your breath. A really great one that I did when my eldest was 2 was that she was really excited for her next birthday, where she would be turning 3. So what we would do is we'd be saying, let's think about your birthday and how you would be blowing out the candles. So we would bring her into a calm state, and we would hold up the fingers and take a deep breath and blow out the candle. So that's requiring a long exhale, which is signaling to the nervous system that it is safe and that it's okay to release some tension throughout the body. Okay, this is great work for the vagus nerve that I've been talking about in the podcast, to relax our bodies out of our fight or flight mode and into a state of calm. And that's when our intuition can serve us. Okay, and the way that the mouth is formed with the blowing out the candles is a beautiful way to signal that to that vagus nerve. Okay, it's also, if you're wanting to breathe in, like you're breathing in through a straw. Okay, these are some great little breathing techniques that we can play with our children. Okay, create games around those types of breath. Our kids need to experience its purpose and notice that this type of breath is fun and it helps them to feel in control. Because often our kids, when they're feeling lots of emotions from lots of different sources, be that their own emotions are heightened, being highly sensitive, or be it that they're picking up on the energy of other people, be that at a day of school, at a day of being out at the shops, at a day of high interaction. These types of things can impact on their ability to sense other people's energies and just anchor back into that calm. And I'll talk about this in a minute. Your co-regulation of your breath, of using your breath to co-regulate their breath. Another beautiful meditation technique that you can do with your kids to help bring them into experience its purpose is some mindfulness. So really quickly is to just talk when maybe you're going for a walk or out in nature. Maybe you're just sitting in the backyard playing together, and it's a talking meditation around the senses. So you could ask about, is there, like, what can you hear? What type of birds do you think that is? Where do you think they are? So just these questions help them to switch their focus into their auditory experience. Okay, and I'm just checking that chat. Yeah. So that's what I mean about the when they get triggered when you ask them to do these types of things. It's like when you're angry and somebody tells you to calm down. It's like that's not helpful. Okay, our kids will get angry if they feel like they're being directed. Because what I was getting at is that these heightened states of emotion feel like they're out of control. They feel out of touch with their bodies, or they feel oversensitized within their bodies, and they feel like they have no control over it. So that heightens anxiety. So, what we need to do is bring them back into a state of control. This is why asking them questions that are kind of unrelated to what they're perceiving as a problem can be helpful. So, for example, if we ask them about their birthday, as I was saying with the candles, it seems like it's a bit unrelated, but we're saying, let's think about the birthday, and you're going to be blowing out some candles. And it's not to reflect away from the emotions or distract away from the emotions, because the emotions, we've allowed space for those to be expressed. We've allowed space for that to have an explosion if it needs to be. And then afterwards, when you're coming in and building the bridges of safety again, it's talking about this. Or do you remember at your last birthday party? Do you remember at this party we went to and there was this cake and then we blow out the candles? Okay, it's just bringing them back into a focus that allows them to have some joy in their memories and control. So they're in control of the breath. They know how to blow out a candle. And when it comes to the thinking about the sounds that you hear, even just in this moment, just tuning into the sounds, I can hear the sounds of a cricket. Okay, just in this distant sounds of the cars, just asking them in the questions of what can you hear? It asks them to tune into one sense intensely. Okay, that requires blocking out other senses, which could be thoughts, blocking these things to the side to be able to tune into one individual focus. Helps to slow things down. So we go through the hearing, we go through what can you smell? What are the smells that you're sensing at this moment? This is a really good way to anchor in memories as well. So if something really positive just happened, or something that they can be really proud of, or build more gratitude around, something that's really good for them has just happened, ask them about the scent, like what can you smell in this moment? Because just linking up that trigger of memory with a smell can anchor that into their mind for a very long time. Okay, this is building on the purpose. These are all meditation practices, but we're linking them to a purpose that's serving our kids, because often they don't want to do anything if they can't see the purpose. They don't want to do anything if it's taking away their control or their experience in the way that they want to experience it in their way. That's why I said it needs to be self-directed. They need to have the reins on this. And so smell, we could talk about taste, we could talk about sight. That's a good one, is watching the clouds, looking for clouds and calling pictures out of them. That's a really nice one. Watching the raindrops down a window, all of those different things are really meditative, focusing things that we can do. Okay, I'll come back to it, needs to be self-directed. So this means that if we are running a guided meditation, our kids have the tendency to get really bored, or they dislike the stories, and that's not going the way that they thought it should go. They want to have more control over these things. They want to be the director. Okay, so how can we do that when we're building meditation practices for our kids? Is a beautiful way is when you're laying down at bedtime with them, when you're getting them into feeling safe and feeling comforted. Okay, we provide the openings and opportunities for them to be the director of these meditations, their own guided meditations. It's a guided meditation, but it's like a choose your own adventure story, because they are leading it. Your role as their guide is to ask the questions, provide the openings and the opportunities. So, with this, we would say, close your eyes and imagine you're laying somewhere really, really soft, and then ask them what type of soft place are you laying on. So it could come across as a cloud, but it could also be a moss bed in the forest. It could be something completely um, left of center, like a big pile of scarves in the bottom of a wardrobe. You know, there's it's up to them what makes them feel safe and secure and nurtured and soft and floaty. We let them direct that. So imagine you're laying somewhere soft. What is that like for you? And open this up, and they could say something that you weren't expecting, or it's not like, oh no, not like that. We're trying not to direct it, so we run with what they've provided. And so it could be, well, imagine that this is floating you up through the air and taking you wherever you want to go. Where do you want to go? And providing the opportunities. So your role as the guide is to offer questions, offer scenarios. Okay, we take the pressure off focusing. Okay, meditation has been perceived as an act of sitting in silence, in a stillness, and allowing all of our thoughts to dissipate and leave blank emptiness for calm and slow. And that's beautiful, but that does not work for everybody, and it's a building practice. Okay, still, it is a very masculinized way of meditating. The feminine meditation comes with flow and surrender. So, this is very fluid for our children, and they're very quick to jump into meditative states of allowing inner thoughts to arise. They don't have a lot of other things that are blocking or resisting from that. But what they do have is a very, very active energy that wants to expand, that wants to go off on all of these tangents and adventures. So we need to run with that. That's where I say provide the openings and opportunities to lead that where it needs to go. Okay, so we're returning the magic to noticing. We're noticing and providing the opportunities for them to begin noticing and begin opening to their intuition and surrendering to where it might take them. Little side note over here on expectations. So it is said that it's 1 minute of focus per year of age. So, for example, if you've got a 3-year-old, you might be looking at 3 minutes max of sitting with you and doing this. If you've got a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, it's 5 to 6 minutes. That's just a give and take. But, it doesn't always work off that. We could have 6-year-olds that can only sit for 1 minute. It's going to be very individual because our children are not all the same based on how many years they've lived on this earth, or everybody's different. So this is what I was saying before. Breathe together. Co-regulation. When you're calm, they can find their calm. So take this moment, just a short breathing exercise. Breathe with this ball. Hold. Out. Breathe in. Hold. Breathe out. So, a beautiful way that you can do this is allow your child to put their head on your chest and you do the breathing. And you just hold them and you let them know that they're safe and you let them know that they're loved and you do the breathing. You act as the energetic regulator. And just as we will be talking in a moment about crystal healing, this is where we are altering energetic vibrations by using energy. So you can use your energetic frequencies to attune their energetic frequencies to the level in which you want. It's like they say the smile is contagious. Okay, the smile is the energy of happiness and joy. And when we're bringing joy and laughter into a room, it lifts the energy and brings it up into that vibration. We can do the same with calm. Yes, when you're calm, they will find their calm. You focus on your energy, on regulating your grounding, your breath, your regulating your nervous system to bring it back into a grounded center. Okay, so let's talk about some new moon rituals. So, new moon is a time of fresh starts, new beginnings. But before we can make room for the new to come in, if we look to things like the law of attraction and rules of manifestation, we need to create space for this new energy to flow in. So, one of the best things that we can do to help our child attune to moon energies, the ebb and the flow, the give and the take, is just to take some time to say goodnight to the moon. Go out and have a look at the moon each evening or as much as you can and notice its phase. Is it waxing, which means growing in energy, building to something? Or is it waning and shedding its skins and retreating back? Okay, getting darker. So we just take some time to notice what direction is the moon moving in, where in the sky is it? Okay, and we're watching it grow or we're watching it retreat. So when the moon is, we've taken some time to notice that it has retreated over time and it's getting quite small or slender and it's getting darker in the sky, we're noticing that it's time to cleanse. And this could be a really nice time to talk to your children. Around the table is a great way to do this, is to talk about your family values, your dreams of what do you want to learn and what do you want to do? What are you focusing on? And this could be as simple as what's your favorite thing at the moment? Tell me about that show you've been watching. Show me about that game you've been playing. Where do you want to go? Who do you want to hang out with more? All of these different questions can help to build an energy of family values and dreams. You can build vision boards if you'd like. You can write lists and stick them up on your fridge, whenever you feel called to do, but really create an energy of what is important to your children and for yourself. So think about how you want to be spending your energy across the next 28-day cycle of moon cycle. Okay, we can ask our kids, do you want to make a wish? And there's something that's been going around since, I know it's been going around since I was a child, that if you make a wish, you need to keep it a secret or it won't come true. There's something I just want to say on there is that you are allowed to tell everybody your wish. You don't need to keep it a secret. One of the big rules in manifestation is to believe that this is already flowing to you. It's already coming to you. So you can use these new moon rituals as a time to make wishes and tell everybody in the family about them. Talk about our wishes and what we want to feel and how we would feel when we have that happening in our lives. And it's a time to cleanse our spaces. So we cleanse our space to make room for what you want to move in. This is the universal law of the vacuum. Okay, if you take something out, something else is going to move into its place. We want to make sure that what moves into the place is fueled by your intentions of what you think about you attracting. So you're thinking about that which you're wanting to bring in, your values, your dreams, your goals, your ambitions, and then you're planting that seed for it to move into that vacuum. So we have to create a vacuum as well. We need to clear some space. So if what our children are wanting is things like a new toy, something like that, then we can attune them to gratitude for this practice by, yes, acknowledge that they want that, acknowledge their desires. have come from a generation where we were shamed for wanting things and told that, we were being greedy and not gracious if we had these desires. And it has brought us into a role of mothers that have a lot of trouble taking what we need and what we want, and feeling guilty when we take time back for ourselves or do something just for our own self-care or self-needs. So we need to model this as well. We can talk about, well, okay, so if you want more of those dolls, then is there other dolls that you already have that you don't need anymore that perhaps we could pass on to somebody who might love them, and making some room for these new things in your life. So it might be going through your toys and looking at which ones can we move into charity, and working through your wardrobe and things if that's not your style anymore, if you're growing out of that, if it's uncomfortable, then let's move it on. Create space for the new to come in. So we're talking about these ideals that we have through our new moon rituals. Okay, and this gives us the fresh slate. Yeah, oops, gives us the fresh slate so that we can start over. And this is a beautiful energy to bring for our child, because often our children can feel caught up in that they've done something that wasn't up to their expectations, or they feel like they were in trouble for something, or they didn't get something right, and they can mull on that for a long time. But if we highlight that they've got a fresh slate where everything can start over fresh, we can try new things, and old things we can start over again. We've got a new plan. It can really free them up to experience things in a new light. Okay, and the full moon rituals is about grounding and directing your power towards your intentions. So the full moon rituals is when the moon is at its peak of energy. The moon has got the most highest potential of energy to be claimed. So yeah, this can have that bad rap of making children more hyperactive, more energy. We've got people that are hypersensitive reacting to full moons. That energy is lifting them out of their grounded state, and they're in reaction mode. So full moon, leading up to the full moon, that energy is building as that moon is growing. Then we need to ground. A beautiful way to take our kids and ground them is to take them outside. Go for a walk in nature. Just sit outside without any structure, without any expectations or plans. Just go and enjoy nature. Just go somewhere and just enjoy. Okay, allowing space for the noticing is what's really important to connect into this natural state of grounding, is the lack of agenda. If we go with an agenda, even the most, you know, nature connective agendas, like let's go and journal nature, let's go and nature draw. These are beautiful activities that we love to do, but it's we need to allow space for simply noticing as well. Okay. The full moon is a beautiful time for creating. So yes, you can do some nature journaling. You can, collect leaves and feathers and weave them together with some sticks to create wands, or create mandalas out of beautiful stones and leaves and flowers and whatever you find. Okay, it's a beautiful time creating and infusing our creations with our energy. Now, potion making, you can do this out in the garden just with a bucket of water and adding different things that you might find. If you've got a herb garden, this is lovely. Lots of flowers. And this is brings back memories, and me now as a herbalist. I remember making things out of ivy in my garden and applying it to my sister's legs, and different things like that really helped me nurture my intuition in which plants do I want to use for different things, and really getting a connection with nature. You can also take your potion making into things like blending up little essential oil bottles, if you are familiar with working with those, or making herbal blends, making herbal teas, these different things that can be used uh, in your everyday mothering. So, as I was saying, just as people were joining, my girls requested a tea before I was to come downstairs. And so we blended up a tea together. They requested some herbs, and I added in some things that I thought that they would like in there, and made this tea, all from loose leaf herbs, just a little pinch of that, a little bit of that, mix them all together and brew them up in the teapot. And that's something that they really enjoy doing. You can do this with baking with intention. One of the things that was a big practice for us was kneading bread. We don't eat bread anymore, but it's if you can do something like that, or other baking type things that you can do. But kneading with intention was one of my favorite practices, and I really miss kneading bread. That if you work with bread, kneading your intentions into that, or simply stirring it into your meals and teaching your kids, working with your kids in the kitchen can be really stressful. But if you allow time and space and surrender to the fact that there may be mess and there may be things that get poured too much in, or they eat ingredients along the way, it can be really, really connecting for you to do it together. So, just baking with them and having fun with that, and teaching them the practices of um, stirring, left with bringing in the energy. So we stir to infuse our food with love and with healing and with energy. We're stirring in this way. And if we're making something that we want to, banish a cold or something like that, maybe you want to think of it in the other direction, stirring to the right, and you would stir to banish any what would it be? Any bugs or any sickness or things like that. So think about which way you're stirring as well. So baking with intention. The full moon is the time when we're charging. So we've got so much energy available to us. And it's a beautiful time for charging our crystals, our magical tools, if you use wands or cards or things like that. But it's also a beautiful time for charging our bodies. So, you can, if you like doing moon bathing and you want to sit up with your kids and go and lay out under the moon. But another really nice way, and something that I just did with my daughter upstairs, was charging her bath waters with chants. So chanting through the bath water. If you are in the Magical Mothering group, there is a file in the guides there with goddess chants, and there's some in there. But we chant into the bath water. We add salts and different oils, and beautiful thing with water is that the molecules actually open up when exposed to higher vibrations of energy. So that holds the energy that's being infused into that water. That's why we use energy essences into spring water for flower essences and that type of work that I do. So we allow the water to hold that energy. So I asked my daughter tonight what she wanted to infuse her bath water with, and I was saying, let's infuse it with some healing and some peace to help you just relax. And she said she wanted to heal it, to infuse her bath waters with good luck, to give her good luck. So we were doing that, and you can sing chants, or you can just hum or make any noises that you want. Let the kids lead. This is about them. So letting them lead with this. Making moon water. So I've got a few different jars of water behind me, and this is all moon water. So this is water that is infused with the energy of full moons. So I just take a clear glass jar, fill it up with water, and put it out into the moonlight. In the morning I come and do up the lid to keep it in my altar, and I use them for different things, for my own energy work, my own rituals. Okay. Full moons are a time of celebration. So just like in the cycle of a woman, the full moon is the time of like where it would be ovulation time. It's all about singing and celebrating. And my daughter's quite a fan of having a full moon party where we she set us up outside with chairs before and music and around the fire. So that's a really fun thing to do as well. Have a full moon party. Crystal healing. So, crystals each hold their own vibrational pattern. We know from research into atomic structure that everything is made of energy and every particle is in constant motion. So, I've been collecting crystals since I was really young. My mum said I was probably about 3 or 4 when I started collecting them at different markets and things like that. And it was when I was in about year 7 or 8 science class at school when everything clicked into place because we were talking about the kinetic theory of the atomic structure and how everything is constantly in vibration and every atom of every particle is in constant vibration. And I was like, well, that's why my crystals work because they're all vibrating and they're vibrating at different frequencies. And so then we think about the emotional frequencies. Emotions are all vibrating on different frequencies. Colors all vibrate on different frequencies. And sounds, they all vibrate on different frequencies. So we can use things like colors, crystals, sounds, emotions to, influence our body cells, our emotional cells. Okay, so we can use these crystals to help sync our body up. So, vibrational qualities of crystals, they're utilized in so many things. They're used in watches and phones and computers to keep things working. Everything needs a grounding point, an earth. This is our earth element coming into play. Our children don't need detailed descriptions of why crystals work, so keep it simple. It's just like this. Crystals, they hold energy, just like batteries hold energy. And this type of energy in this crystal can help things to sync up to the same frequency, like a radio station. Different radio stations play different music, and some of those radio station frequencies help us to feel calm. Some of the music help us feel creative. Some different musics help us to have fun and dance, and others can help us to clear heavy feelings like anger. So different crystals have different frequencies that help us to move different emotions. So you don't need to know the name of crystal to be able to look it up and see what does that particular vibration do. Since I've been working with crystals for a very long time, I have lots of crystals that I have no idea what they're called. And I could definitely, research and look them up, but I'm the type of person that tends to forget straight away anyway. But the way I've always worked with my crystals is letting the crystals speak to me. Okay, so just taking a particular crystal, holding it in your hand, allowing your breath to ground you, just allowing the crystal's vibration in your hand to begin moving into your body, moves down your arms and into your heart space. And let this crystal tell you how it's going to help and what it's here to do. How is this crystal serving? And let me tell you that each different crystal can have different meanings for different people, and that's okay. Because this crystal is speaking to you. This crystal is speaking to your child, and it's bringing what it can do for them in their individual circumstances. And I don't know how anybody could tell you what's right or wrong around this. Okay, so Allow this crystal to speak to you, and you listen with your heart's intuition. You listen with your heart's knowing. Let it share with you where on your body it wants to go and why. Okay. So different ones can mean different things. You can certainly use the colors to link up to what the colors signify on the frequency chart. So blue is very much about communication. So this one that I have here, if I was going to use my logical mind, I'd be thinking, what about communication can this one help me with? Okay, so this one's just told me that it's here to communicate my creativity. So if I'm working on a project and I don't know how to speak about it, this is the crystal to call in. Whereas I have a crystal here, lapis lazuli, which is also a very similar color. And this one's told me immediately communicates authority. So this was one that was it's beautifully fun to know about the history and cultural usages of crystals and where they've come from. And definitely I've actually stopped buying crystals in the last few years because I've been very aware of buying crystals ethically. So making sure that the people that I am sourcing crystals from are sourcing them ethically. It's perfectly fine to find out what your crystal has been used for traditionally or culturally. And I know that lapis lazuli was used by Egyptian royalty. So it is very interesting that this one is also about communicating, but it's about claiming your authority in a space, and especially towards high priestess energy of intuition and deeper knowing of wisdom, innate wisdom. So different crystals can speak to you with different things. So just hold it and let it tell you where it wants to go on your body and why. Some crystals like to be programmed or given jobs. Not all crystals like that. So it's said that, you know, if you get a crystal, then you need to program it and give it a job to do. But just like people, not all crystals like to be told what to do. Some, like the ones too that I've just shown you here, are very clear on their purposes and they don't want to be doing anything else. Okay, some crystals are more flexible and more willing to be adaptable. They're most often the clear crystals, like clear quartz, and white crystals like selenite. I've got some selenite here. Is a lot more open and flexible and a lot more willing to be. I see this one as very much a messenger. So it's very much more willing to go into different realms and spaces, etheric realms, and retrieve information for you. So I see these white crystals as being more so a messengers, and the clear crystals can be programmed. So what I mean by programmed is that you can give it a job to do. So this is where if you are requiring a crystal and you don't have it, but the only one that you've got is a clear quartz. Clear quartz is the best one that you can use because it can be programmed to do whatever you need it to do. If you need some self-confidence, tell that clear quartz that that's what you need. Give it the intention, and the intention will help that to channel that energy. Okay, I won't go into different shapes and points and that type of thing today, because the thing that we want to know or take away from this experience is that crystal healing with our children is about handing over the rule book. We don't need it. We want our children to talk to the crystals, ask the crystal what it needs to do and why. And when it comes to choosing which crystal do I need, that's often a question I get. As I did the course on, you know, crystal healing, so I've got that as one of my certifications. But really, the most rewarding thing that came about that was the information around the different shapes and how the different shapes direct energy. But I like working with the rough stones, earth energy. Okay. But it's interesting. So, how do you choose? So, it's the same as I'm going to talk to you in a minute about choosing an oracle card. It's allowing your energy to tell you. The energy will direct you. So, if you are working with a whole range of crystals in a shop or a display and you're thinking, which one needs me? It's going to, yeah, it keeps going to this one here for me. It was the one I picked up before. This is what I'm needing at the moment, and I'm delivering create work that I've been creating and delivering a message that I'm passionate about. So it doesn't surprise me that this is the crystal that's calling to me in my energy state at the moment. If anybody has any questions while I'm going on, just put them in the chat and I will come back to them. Okay, oracle cards. So, when you are working with oracle cards with your children, it's important to find a deck that resonates with both you and your child. You can find a deck that resonates just with your child and use that as their own deck, and it can hold their energy. So, getting one that's specifically for them is a great idea, and making sure that you have a deck that resonates with your energy. Your child may prefer to have one that doesn't have many words, but maybe pictures that they like. I was going to bring mine down, but they've left them upstairs. We like to use for the kids, they've gravitated to the dragon deck and the unicorn deck and another deck by the renegade mama, which has got a lot of words on it, but the pictures really relate to the kids, so it's got a lot of affirmations for kids in those. So whereas the dragon and the unicorn cards don't have really any words on them besides just the name of the card, they're a great one to just relate to the pictures, whereas the other ones, it's called the Renegade Mama. It's a beautiful deck. And the kids like me reading the affirmations to them, and they stick their affirmation card up on the windowsill with mine. So you can get to know your deck by just when you get it, you spread out all the cards on the table or floor and just get to know the pictures, have a look at them all and see if there's any that are calling to you that may be your favorites. And you can share your energy with the deck by sleeping with it under your pillow or on your bedside table. That's what I do when I get a new deck, is I sleep with it. And you can begin by spreading the cards out face down and moving your hand over the cards. And this is once again, as I was saying with the crystals, practicing listening to our intuitive tugs and any changes in the energy. So the energy will change for every person, will be different. So I do recommend that you don't direct your child into how it will change or what the tug will feel like. For some people, it might feel like your hands moving down towards a card. For some people, it might feel a magnetism. For some people, it might feel hot, cold, tingles, changes in air pressure, different things are noticed by different people. So it's important that we don't tell our child what it could be feeling like, because we want them to trust whatever they feel is right. So this is where we are once again providing openings and opportunities by asking the question and allowing them space to notice how it feels for them individually, because intuition is individual. They might not feel it the same as you, and that's perfectly okay. So once you've chosen a card, ask them, why do you think you've chosen that card today? How does this picture make you feel? What does it remind you of? What do the colors mean to you? What do you think is happening in the card? So just asking these questions, it triggers that thought process within their mind. They don't have to have the answers straight away. I know when I pull my cards in the morning, I don't always have the answers straight away, but I'll pop it up on my windowsill and I'll look at it throughout the day. And then maybe by the end of the day, I'll have some idea about how that showed up in my day. But simply asking these questions for our kids just gets that thought process moving, brings them into that awareness of self and their emotional bodies, and helps them to start linking up the ideas in their heads as they move about their day. I know that my girls have pulled cards in the morning and then been like, and walked off and not said anything, and we let it go. And then it'll be later in the day, because I put them up on the windowsill regardless. Later in the day, they came back to me and they'll say, that was about this moment, this happened, and that's why. And I'll be like, oh, that's good that you've linked that up. So have a think about that. How has this card influenced your day, or how has this card shown up in your energy throughout the day? So even if you don't have a set of oracle cards, or even if you have a set of your own cards, but your child doesn't really relate to them, have a think about how you can read clouds, looking for pictures in the clouds. Reading leaves. This is a really fun activity that we like to do, is finding pretty leaves, or shapes in leaves, like love hearts, or different patterns in leaves, or their colors, and asking what this message is for you. Reading stones and crystals. You can do a reading using crystals. You can even read and like the intuitive messages that pathways and rivers and creeks make, like the direction the water is running, how it's moving around some rocks and over these rocks and around that pathway, and moving faster here and slower there and stagnant here. You can read anything. And looking to nature is a beautiful way, because it is always around you. You can always look to the clouds, you can always look to the leaves, you can always look to the patterns in the bark, or the way that the water runs down the windows. I remember reading the water that runs down the windows and asking questions. And if the water ran this way, it meant this. And if the water ran this way, it meant that. And asking these different things of nature, looking for these signs and symbols, birds, listening to bird calls and intuiting that. And connecting with our guides. So our job as our child's guide is to create a safe space for our child to tune in and listen to their own inner guidance. With opening a guided meditation to meet their guides in a safe and comfortable space, once again, we can do this by asking these questions and saying that, allowing your breath to let your body sink down into a soft, cozy space, and allow yourself to float until you arrive somewhere that is really safe and you feel really comfortable here and cozy. And have a look around you, and what's the space look like? Are you in a garden or a forest or a home? Is it something that where you've been before, or is it somewhere new? Asking these types of questions to guide them into a safe and comfortable space. And this could be anywhere that they choose. And while you're in this space, allow them to have somebody that is there, that is taking care of them, that's providing them their favorite food and giving them their favorite blanket and making sure they're warm and comforted and providing them with safety. And this is your guide. So for me, in some instances, it has been working with my kids. In some instances, it's been a great grandparent that has passed over. For my daughter, it was my husband's pa came to her. Okay. And in other scenarios, which was really, really interesting for my daughter, was one time that she was quite nervous about wolves and talking about wolves being outside of our yard. And then we guided her into this safe space. And what she found was that the wolves were actually there to be her protectors. And she emerged from this visualization as the leader of the pack. And she was able to have these friends that would do anything for her. and other ones have been moving through that really comforting, soft space that starts guiding you through the air, became the feathers on the back of a dragon. And my daughter was nestled into the feathers on this back of the dragon, who would fly her from land to land as a guide that would never leave her unprotected. And she's had a unicorn guide, which is the same guide that I had when I was a child, a unicorn that would come and make sure that you'd never get lost when you're off on these journeys and adventures. So there's been different guides that have come through at different times, and they come up for different things. So we don't need to know the specific name. It doesn't have to be a person. It doesn't have to be an animal. It can be anything that you need it to be. And the thing is that it's our child who meets them. It's our child who shares this experience with us. We just open and allow the opportunities and give them the gift of noticing and introducing them to that. You can help build the bridges with this by lighting a candle for your ancestors. This is why practicing Samhain or these types of ancestor rituals, bringing into connection our ancestors that have passed and paying respect and getting to know our histories is important, because working with our ancestors is really important for everybody. Making offerings for them out in the garden. My girls really like doing this, setting up little flower hearts in the ground and saying that they're for our ancestors or for their guides, thanking them for being there for them. You can think about gifts from nature, like those beautiful leaves that I was talking about before, or the feathers, that they're messages from your guides. And so I asked the kids, "Oh, that's beautiful. Do you think your guide sent that to you? What are they sending you? Is it a message?" And asking and letting them just ponder it. We don't need to put any pressure on providing us with the answers, but just allowing them the space to think about it. And listening to the wind and the trees and just allowing that space to just tune into the noises that are going on around you. Just asking them to listen, not requiring or expecting an answer for what they hear, but just asking them to hear if there's anything out there for them today. My kids were playing outside in the yard for most of today. And I said to them, it's a full moon tomorrow. Do you think that you can hear any messages from nature about what the full moon's bringing in for us? And so they just go, not sure. We'll listen and try and work that out. And so then off they go, keep going playing, but they've got that in their mind. So we just provide the openings and opportunities for them to notice the magic that is already around them. So just have a think about it. We can't hold space for our child to embrace their emotional selves, their intuitive selves, when we don't do the same for ourselves. We need to model the behavior that we wish for them to adopt. We need to do the emotional awareness. We need to do the trust in our own innate wisdom. We need to do this so that they can have permission to trust themselves fully. So, ways that I anchor my energy as a mum to model this emotional awareness and trust in my intuition: shadow work, shadow work, shadow work. I got to dig deep, got to look into the reasons why I resist self care, the reasons why I resist my self acceptance. Okay. Radical self acceptance comes with loving all parts of ourselves, even the parts that we hide out of shame or fear of not being accepted or loved or wanted, all of these different things. So, radical self acceptance is about accepting our whole selves. And when we do this work as mothers, our children are watching and they're feeling. That's the big thing, is it's not just about the actions that we do, it's about the energy that we represent. And I had this question the other day because, I'm very positive about body love and loving ourselves. And my eldest, who's 8, said to me, I love myself. Do you love yourself though, Mum? And I had to answer that because I said, I do. I'm still working it every day, but I do. And giving her that honest answer that it's something that I'm working on, but I honestly can say that I do, is It's good. She was happy with that answer. She accepted it. And usually she wouldn't take it if I was giving her any bullshit. She wouldn't accept it. So she knew I was on being honest with her. I use flower essences and my own self-care practices like herbals and nutritives to look after my mind, look after my mental health, taking the space that I need, different things like that. Um, Addressing my witch wounds, loving myself through my mother wounds, invoking my inner mother to nurture my inner child is a big part of my everyday. That's something that I teach. Healing my witch wounds is all about the ability to be seen, the ability to go against the grain and do things differently to other people for fear of being persecuted for doing things differently or standing out. Working on that all the time. Holding boundaries with yourself and with others. So knowing what your needs are, that can be your basic survival needs, so base chakra work, or it could be your sacral work all around your passions and your desires and what lights you up, your creativity, making room for those and holding yourself to it, having that self-integrity. And strengthening your energetic centers is being able to tune into your different energy centers and send love and healing to all parts of self. So this is what I do for myself, and this is what I've brought forward and have been called to teach to other mums as well. So if you're thinking you could really use a mentor, that's me. That's what I do. So I have my Magical Mothering 10-week mentorship open for new mentors. I'll be your mentor. You can be my mentee. And the investment for that is $477 Australian, and that gives you 5 90-minute sessions. So that's a really good deal. And what we do in that is that we go through the elements of earth, air, fire, water, and spirit throughout your 5 sessions. So the first session is earth, and we work on the physical grounding aspects that you need, all of the needs and boundaries that are required to build you into a state of thriving rather than just surviving. So we build you out of that state with the earth element. Air is all about the mindset. So we're doing a lot of addressing conditioning and generational patternings. So this is where we do the ancestral healing. This is when we do the generational lineage work to go back along your lineage and heal any conditions, stories that have imprinted into your energetic line that hold you back from accepting the work that you need to move into in this life. Your fire is all about unleashing your power. So, your fire element is where we work within the Akashic realm to unleash your innate wisdom and your trust in yourself. So, this is a lot of that witch wound coming out here as well. And the water element. Water is the emotional element. And then this one here, this session, we are invoking the inner mother to nurture the inner child within you. This is a lot of mother wound work in here. And the mother wound is not just about what has happened between your mother and you, but it's been what's been the conditioning passed down the mother line. Okay. It has a lot of influence on living in a patriarchal society and the worth of a woman, the worth of a mother's work, and the worth of nurturing. All of those different things have come into play. And the final element session is spirit. And within the spirit session, I attune you to be the conduit of energy, to be the hands-on energy healer, sending distance energy out to people or family, wherever they are in the world. You are the conduit, and I work with you to know that you are attuned to energy within that session. Okay, so at the end of the Magical Mothering mentorship, we would have moved through quite a lot of shadow work. And it's really providing you with the tools to be that mentor that your child needs. So it's providing you with the tools to help undo any of the conditioning and work that is holding you back, that's keeping you resistant, lacking in self-worth and self-confidence, and really is guiding you to trust your intuition as mother. Okay, to do what you need to do to help your child to thrive and get your child what they need to live their best lives. Okay, so if this is something that you feel called to do, please send me a message or send me an email or however you want to contact me. And we can book a 15-minute chat to see if this is the right fit for you. So let me know if I can be the one to help you, because that's what I'm here for. I've been called to do this work and I would love to support you. So I'm going to stop sharing now and see if I have any questions to answer. Okay. Let's see if they have any questions. If not, that's okay. So what I will do is I will just close down our circle. Thank you all for being here with me tonight. I appreciate you all and I love you so much. I close down our circle to below and thank the Earth Mother, our ancestors, and our guides for being here with us tonight. I close down our circle to above and thank Universal Source Energy for holding this space, being here with us tonight. I close down our circle to the south and thank the Guardians of the Fire for being here with us tonight. I close down our circle to the west and thank the Guardians of the Water for being here with us tonight. I close down our circle to the east and thank the Guardians of the Air for being here with us tonight. I close down our circle to the north and thank the Guardians of the Earth for being here with us tonight. Thank you so much for your time. And if you've been watching this back on the recording, please send me any questions. I would be honored to answer them for you. And lots of love to you all this evening. Good night.